I thought I would do a quick walk around video of the GT500 for anybody who's interested in the plane and anybody interested in buying it. This aircraft is currently for sale. I'll update the description once it sells so you don't all keep asking me, hey, is it still for sale? I'm going to kind of go pretty quick on this, so if you see something that you want to see in more detail, just pause the video. I don't want to take my time and go really slow for the people who aren't really interested in seeing all the features. So I'm going to go kind of quick, and if you see something that you want to look at for a few seconds longer, just hit pause and you'll be able to check it out. Start off in the cockpit. It's got a pretty nice panel for some VFR flight. Oil temp, water temp, compass, tack, airspeed indicator, altimeter, rate of climb, oil pressure. There's a second tack in here. That's just a little bit more accurate. It's a tiny tack. It'll be coming out, but it's in there for now just so I can verify that this tack is correct. Mags, it's got an hour meter, your master switch, your avionics switch, and we have circuit breakers. Down along the side, we have the throttle is on the right hand side, so anybody coming off of a Cessna or a Piper will feel right at home, especially because it also has a yoke instead of a stick. There's a parking brake, there's the brake lever itself, there's the reservoir, the master cylinder is down there. Up in the center we have the brakes lever, that just pulls out, and you can put that into 20, 30, or 10 or 0 degrees of flaps. Yes, I said that in the wrong order, I'm sorry for your OCD-ness. And then we have trim, and the trim's interesting because when I move the trim, the entire tail moves up and down. You see the whole leading edge of that moving up and down? It's just like the Super Cubs, they do that. There's a couple of other planes that also do that, but I thought that was kind of interesting way to address the trim situation. And then we have the rudder pedals up in the front. Another interesting thing to note is that it has static ports. This one has a port on the right and on the left. And yes, I said that backwards, but that's okay. What that means is you'll get more accurate readings. The back seat includes the yoke, throttle on the right hand side, and a rear brake as well, so you can also activate the brakes in the rear seat. Has rudder pedals, it has trim, and it also has an airspeed indicator in the back. So this would be a great aircraft for training. Pitot tube on the nose wheel. Nose wheel's angled back slightly for tracking. It has springs on it so that it's not directly connected to the rudder. You can activate the rudder while the nose wheel is on the ground. Main gear is a simple fiberglass rod, very strong, very flexible, good shock absorbing. It has Matco brakes, very effective. It has aerodynamically shaped wing struts, which reduce the drag significantly. The aircraft is also in need of a bath, so if you see some dirt and dust, sorry about that. So there it is with the flap set at 20 degrees. You can see it has nice big flaps, and then the ailerons are out on the wingtips. Very responsive, good control. It's powered by a Rotax 912 UL, so it's an 80 horsepower 4-stroke 4-cylinder engine. It has dual altitude compensating carburetors, so you don't need to worry about changing jettings and stuff whenever you go from cold months to warm months, or also have to worry about it whenever you are at different altitudes. It will automatically compensate for different pressures. Features a 3-blade warp drive propeller. I believe it's 70 inches in length, and it's currently pitched to produce 5,400 RPM static. That is not the permanent decal for the markings. I just wanted to keep the aircraft legal for flight. I have actual decals coming that will look much better than that. All of the fabric is brand new with the exception of the vertical stabilizer and the rudder and the doors for the cockpit. All of those materials tested in excess of what the manufacturer recommends for strength, so they are perfectly safe. The rest of the material was not safe, and so it is all brand new. Fuel tanks are located in the wings. Left tank and a right tank, a total of 16 US gallons. This is not currently the way it's supposed to be hooked up. There's supposed to be a drain valve here, but the drain valves that came with the kit, their O-rings were deteriorated, so the only way to make it fly until those new drain valves arrive is to plug this off, and we decided to plug it off by simply routing a hose from one tank over to the other. It has the added bonus of balancing the fuel whenever there's more fuel in one tank than the other. Fuel tanks are visible from the inside. So that's a quick walk around of the plane. I'm going to start it up, take it up for a circuit or two, and you guys can see how it flies. Clear!
Alrighty then. There's another plane in the circuit. I'm hoping he comes down and stops because I don't have a radio. You may notice the low oil light is on. That's an error of some sort and we can't figure it out. We have lots of oil and we have oil pressure and we've checked the oil and we've double checked all the sensors and we cannot figure out why that light is on. There isn't even a sensor for how much oil is in the engine, so we're not sure if that was just put in and just wired directly to the master switch or what. If anybody knows anything about that, feel free to let us know. We couldn't figure it out, so I may end up just pulling the wire off the back of it because it literally doesn't go anywhere. It just turns on when the master's on and turns off when the master's off. Water temperature's in the green now, and so is our oil temperature, so once this airplane on final comes in and goes by, we'll taxi out into position. If he's doing a touch and go, he'll be out of our way before we take off, and if he's backtracking, we'll be out of his way before he turns into the taxiway. Looks like a touch and go for Eric. So we'll taxi into position. And we'll just keep an eye on him as we fly. Alrighty, so flight controls are free and correct. Flaps are on 0, trim is set for takeoff. Fuel tanks are on both. Everything's good to go. We're ready to go flying. Let's see what happens. Still good, oil pressure is still good, water temperature is still coming down. There's 2,900 feet, and there's 3,000 feet, so I think that's where we'll start. We'll bring the throttle back to 4,000 to start with, I think. See if we can get the plane to level off here. There's 4,000 RPM, and I'm just gonna keep bringing that nose down. Oil pressure is still good, oil temperature is still good, water temperature is coming down, but we may need to block off part of the radiator. Still climbing a little bit, looks like we're just starting to level off there now. But just a little bit of, well, it's actually trimmed pretty good right there. Little tiny bit of a climb, but I'm not worried about that. But aside from holding some right rudder, she's trimmed right out, man. This is level. The 4,000 RPM showing 70 miles an hour. Well, we are definitely high enough to do a stall, so let's see what it stalls at. Power off. So let's bring the power back to idle. And we'll just kind of hold the nose up. See what happens when it stalls. Just like that, it just kind of buffets a little bit. Get it flying again and it goes. It's not too bad, it's not very violent. And it's stalling right around 40. There's 40 there. Hardly lost even 100 feet doing those. Anyway, I think I'm going to find Eric. Oh, there he is. I see him. I'm going to drop down and come in for a landing. Let's see how this thing lands. So, I'm going to bring in a couple of degrees of flaps. Let's do 20. That'll let me keep the RPMs up a little bit when I'm flying down here slowly. Try to keep some heat in the engine. I've got Eric over there. Looks like he's just turning final, so as soon as he passes me, I'll turn my base. That'll let him get up and off the ground again before I'm on the runway. Hopefully he does another touch and go. There's 1500, so I'm going to level off there. Bring some power back in. I'm just going to kind of hold it at 60 miles an hour or so. Maybe even a little slower. I should also mention it's 0 degrees out today. That's 32 degrees Fahrenheit for my empirically minded viewers. So that's probably why the engine's running really cool, is because, well, it's cold out. So I'm just going to keep an eye on him, make sure that he actually comes back off the ground. If he doesn't, then I'll do a go around. If he does, then I'll land. And it looks like he's doing a full stop. Of course he is. Because I wanted to land. Alright, we'll bring the power back up. Drop the flaps off. I got lots of power. And we'll go up. I'm not going to overtax the engine because it is cool. So as you can see, it is perfectly safe to fly airplanes without radios. You just have to make sure you keep an eye out so you see where the other people are. Starting to pick up there. That was 4,500 RPM, and I was cruising at 80. So 4,500 RPM is a good RPM to cruise at. Look, there's 80 miles an hour. So you can do 80 miles an hour in this, still not burning very much gas. Power back to idle. And do a nice right hand turn. We'll pop in 10 and 20 degrees of flaps. Checking for more traffic. There is another airplane out from the airport, but I believe that is a pilot on a cross-country flight, so I'm not too worried about him coming back, but I will keep an eye out anyway, just because it's a nice day. But nobody appears to be on final, so I believe we are good. Very stable airplane though. Catch a gust of wind right when I say that, of course. But look, on final, locked at 58 miles an hour, hands off. Just track straight in true. It's a good plane, I like it. Say it looks like I might be just a tad short, but I always get an updraft there. Let's see if that updraft helps me out. There it is. Pays to know your airport.
All right, so that was a nice little demo flight in the Quicksilver. Looks like she's cruising at around 80 miles an hour at 4,500 RPM. Climbs about 1,300 feet per minute and stalls around 40 with the flaps up. So I haven't done flaps down stalls yet, but I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere around 35. Like I mentioned, the plane is for sale. So if you're interested in it, I will have a link in the description to the ad for it. You'll be able to find my contact information there if you want to call or text or email or whatever. Happy to answer any questions about it that you may have. Here in Canada, it is registered as an Advanced Ultralight, so that means you don't need a helmet and you can carry passengers in it if you'd like. So any Canadian buyers, right up your alley if you're looking for a nice performing ultralight. And Americans, if you are interested in this, we'll look into what the export laws would be and how you can get that registered in the US. Other than that, I'm really happy with the plane. I'm happy with how it turned out. I just want to say thanks to all the people who helped Mitch and I out with it, getting it ready to go. And hopefully we get this thing moved quickly and then we can move on to the next project, whatever that's going to be. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this sort of transformation from derelict plane in the back corner of a hangar to a nice flying machine. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or would like to see anything else on it, and I will certainly do my best. Until then, though, I guess we will see you later.